Big part of
Daf Mem Zayin. Tana Rabban, a new sugya. It's a continuation of yesterday, but it's a new sugya. Tana Rabban. Kivsi Atzeres, Ein Mekachin Salechem, Ela B'Shchita. So, we're talking about the carbon that you bring on Shavuos with the two shlamim, the shlamim together with the two breads. The only way you can make a zika, you make a connection between the bread and the carbon, is with shchita, and not with nufa. Very good. Oh, the Olam was paying attention. Keitzad, says the Gemara, shchata lishman, you did everything correctly during the shchita. V'zar akdam lishman, and you did everything correctly by the zrika. Kodash halechem. Now, what is the lechem before it becomes kodesh? Is it chulin? No. So what is it? It's kodesh kedushas damim. You took the flour from the Beis Hamikdash. You made the bread. It's kodesh kedushas damim. It's a lower level of kedusha. In order to get it up to kedushas haguf, you have to do shchita l'shma. You have to do zrika l'shma. What if you only do shchita l'shma? Shchatan. I have to get that credit card out. This is fine.
I'll take that one.
This is the Waldorf one. You have my room from Shabbos. Shchatan shalei l'shma mizar don shalei l'shman loy kodesh halechem. If he didn't do the shchita l'shma, what does that mean? He didn't do the shchita l'shma. He thought in his head, instead of making a carbon for Shavuos, he said it's going to be a carbon chatas, something else. And v'zor akdom shel l'shman, and also the zrika was not l'shma, loy kodash halechem. So, obviously the bread doesn't become kodesh, but it does remain kodesh kedushas damim. So, what happens? Rashi points out here, since it's not kodesh, and he went and he was poided, meaning he has the bread, and he took money and he said, this money should be instead of the bread. So what happens to the money? The money doesn't become shtei lechem, because it doesn't become shtei lechem. Says the Gemara, shchatam lishman v'zar akdaman shaloi lishman. What if he did one but not the other? He did shchita the proper way, but the zrika wasn't so good. He didn't have the lishma. Halechem kadosh ve'eni kadosh divri Rebbe. Rebbe says an interesting lashon. It's kadosh but it's not kadosh. It's in between. It is but it isn't. What is it? So the Gemara is going to explain, obviously. But he says l'maisa has some kedusha. It's chal, a little bit of kedushas haguf, but not completely. He doesn't get any kedushas haguf at all. You need both. So basically, what Rebbe Elazar, the son of Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai, says that the main point is the zrika. You have to have zrika l'shma. If you don't have zrika l'shma, nothing doing. It doesn't, the bread doesn't become kaddish. My time the Rebbe, the chsev ben Nazir v'sa'ayil yase zevach shlomim l'Hashem al sal hamatzos. This is the easy part of the sugya. So we have my credit card just fell down. This doesn't work. I need a stronger, heavier duty thing. V'sa'ayil yase zevach. Ignore these two words. The red and the blue, the top, Yas Zevach, Shlomim Lashem Al Salamatzis. So you take the ayil. What does Zevach mean? Zevach means Shchita. So he's learning that you make through Yas Zevach, through Shchita, Shlom Hashem Al Salamatzis. The bread, the matzos, is through the Zevach. Okay. L'meimra, in other words, says the Gemara, the Shchita Mekacha. Now this pasuk over here is talking about a nazir, but we can learn it to our sugya also by Shavuos. Shtei Alechem. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, Yasa, Achi Yasa, Kol Asiyosov. The pasuk does say Yasa. Forget about it. He's ignoring the word Zevach for now. And he says the word Yasa means you have to do everything. What's everything? Everything is the four avodos. You have Shchita, Kabbalah, Ilacha, and Zrika. You have to do everything Lishma. And if you don't do everything Lishma, then there's no Kedushas HaGuf at all. It doesn't help us at all. Says the Gemara, Iksiv, V'Rebbe Nami, Hoksiv Yasa. So, he has a very good point, Rebbe Lazar. It says Yasa. Yasa means everything. So, says the Gemara, Iksiv Zevach Yasa, like I put in the second line, the blue and then the red. If it said Vesayel Zevach Yasa, so the Yasa comes on top of the Zevach, you have to do everything. Hashad Chsiv Yasa Zevach. The diktuk in the pasuk, he says, means more like Rebbe. So Yasa Zevach. The Yasa is going on the Zevach, not on the whole process. What do? You do a Zevach. If it would say Zevach Yasa, so first you do a Zevach. In addition to the Zevach, Yasa finish up all four avodos. But since it doesn't say Zevach Yasa, it says Yasa Zevach. The Torah is not saying do four avodas. The Torah is saying do one avodah called Zevach. V'Rebbe Nami Oksiv. See, right? We said this. V'Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon Hoksiv Zevach. How could Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon ignore the fact that it says Mefurish in the pasuk you have to do Shchita? The Shchita is the Iker. Doesn't mention in the pasuk anything about Zrika. So all of a sudden he chaps the word Yasa and he says you have to do Zrika. It says, so why does the Torah say Zevach? The Torah should have said, according to Rebbe Elazar, it should have just said Yasa. Yasa means all four avodas, and I would know that includes Shchita, it includes Zrika, it includes everything. So why did the Torah emphasize the word Zevach? Hakol Moedim. What's Hakol Moedim? Says Rashi. Even Rebbe Elazar, who says that, even Rebbe Elazar says that Zrika is the Iker. Hakol Moedim shetzorich sheyelechem b'shas Shchita. In other words, what Rebbe Elazar says, what makes the bread kadosh? The final avodah called Zrika. So if the final avodah is Zrika, that's what makes the bread kadosh. So maybe I don't need the bread until the final avodah. The only thing that we care about is the Zrika. So bring the bread in a minute before Zrika and you're good. No. I need the bread all the way from the beginning, from the Shchita. That's why the Torah says Zevach. The Torah says Shchita. Not that the Shchita causes Kedusha, but make sure the bread is there during the Shchita. Now, going back to what the Gemara said before, the Gemara said a very interesting lashon. Kadosh ve'enei kadosh. Right? It's not a good example, and it's not, I don't know if it's so proper, but to emphasize, pregnant and not pregnant. Either you are or you aren't, right? In the Gemara, there's no such thing as in between. A little bit of Kedusha. There's no such thing. It's either 100% Kadosh or not. So when the Gemara says Kadosh ve'enei Kadosh, what does it mean? Abaye Amar Kadosh ve'enei Gomor, that it doesn't become enough Kedusha on the Shtei Lechem. Rava Amar Kadosh ve'enei Niter. Rava says no, it's 100% Kadosh, just you can't eat it. Abai says it's not Kaddish yet. It's not 100% Kaddish. Rava says, and the Gemara is going to explain. Rava says it is 100%, just you can't eat it. As the Gemara might benayu, according to both of them, the Koyanim can't eat it. Even according to Abai, it's also for the Koyanim to eat it. So, and Rava says the Koyanim can't eat it. So, practically speaking, what's the nafkamina between Rava and Abai? There is no nafkamina. Says the Gemara, Ike benayu lemitvas pidyoinoi. The concept of when you take Shtei Alechem and you try to transfer its Kedusha to money, does that work or not? Now, without making it more confusing than it is, because it's pretty confusing, Rashi brings two Lashonos, and then he goes in the middle, he says that it's Mamish Meshubash, the first Lashon, and then he says another Pshat. And he says Lashon Hagun, whatever, and Taisus all the way at the bottom brings the second pshat. So let's go according to the second pshat. Although, for my Gemara, it seems like he didn't like the second pshat. He chopped the first pshat, and I think a lot of Gemaras are like that. La Baya, in the Gemara it says Loi Tafis. So according to Rashi, is more the better pshat, so to speak. You have to take out the Loi. You have to reverse the shita. La Baya Tafis B'Yoinoi, L'Rava Loi Tafis B'Yoinoi. What's going on here? According to Abaya, that there's a little bit of Kedushas Damim and a little bit of Kedushas Guf. So there's a place for the money to be chal. If something's Kedushas Guf, you can't take Kedushas Guf and be paided at all. Something that's 100% Kedushas Guf, pidyon doesn't work. So says the Gemara, according to Abaya, that there's a little bit of Kedushas Damim, it works to the point that it's chal. It doesn't go out to chulin because the mice is still Kedushas Guf. But because it's also Kedushas Damim, the money will take effect. And what do you do with the money? Let's start again. Let's start from Reb Elazar. If it's 100% Kedushas Guf, and I take this money, I take 10 shekel, I say, these 10 shekel should be instead of the shtei lechem. What happens to the 10 shekel? Nothing. So I take the 10 shekel and I could go buy ice cream. According to Abaye, I can't buy ice cream because the shtei lechem is a little bit of Kedushas Damim still. So the point that my money is chal on the Kedushas Damim part. So what do I do with the money? I have to buy other korbanos. My bread, if it was 100% Kedushas Damim, then my bread would transfer over to the money. My money would become shtei chalos, and my shtei chalos would go out, and I could eat them. Anybody could eat them. But because it's still Kedushas Aguf, so I couldn't get rid of the Kedusha from the bread, but I messed up the money, so to speak, according to Abaya. That's what he's saying.
Could you buy other korbanos with it?
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do with the money. No, you could buy any carbon.
According to the sheet, it says that the money will be, the kedusha will be transferred to the money. The lechem remains that level of color.
Correct, because the lechem is both Kedushas Damim and Kedushas Aguf. You can never get rid of Kedushas Aguf, but to the point that there's Kedushas Damim here, then that goes into the money, and the only thing now you can do with the money is buy korbanos. Okay. Bishloim Rava, says the Gemara. According to Rava, this is a real Menachos daf. Has all the what?
Elements.
All the beautiful word. All the elements of Menachos. There's even a line here that's very hard to understand. There's concepts that you have to break your head. It's Gishmak. Bishloim Rava, Hainu Deika Bein Rebbe Lerbe Lazar Reb Shimon. According to Rava, it makes a lot of sense that according to Rebbe Lezer Reb Shimon, the money is chal, it's toifus, and according to Rebbe, it's not toifus. Why? Because according to Rebbe, with the shechita, very simple. According to Rebbe Lezer Reb Shimon, until you get to Zrika, you didn't do anything here. There's no Kedushas Aguf. So if there's zero Kedushas Aguf, it's 100% Kedushas Damim, the money has a place where to be chal, gewaldik. According to Abaya, according to Abaya, you're saying I'm mixing it up here. According to Abaya, where according to Rebbe, according to Rebbe, where the shechita takes effect, it causes Kedushas Haguf, then the money shouldn't be chal. It's not toifus.
Then there's a clear nafkamina.
Yeah, then there's a clear enough between the two shitas, the original two shitas. According to Abaya, they're both Kedushas Damim, and there's no nafkamina.
They both could be put in.
Yeah. Well, not really. Because Tosfos says here that there is a big nafkamina. He asks the kasha that according to Reb Lazar that there's no, the shechita doesn't do anything, then you can be poida. But according to Rebbe, that the shechita does a little bit, then the money will be chal, but it doesn't go out. Yeah. Fine. Not to get confused, more confused. What?
That's what I was asking, according to Abaya. Abaya, it's toughest to according to both of them.
Right. Ela Abaya, no. Ela Abaya Ma'ike bein Rebbe, the Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Shimon.
Right.
According to everybody, it's Kedushas Dam.
No.
So Gemara,
Oh, because everyone's covers Pidona. Right.
Depends how you learn in Rashi.
Well, you said it.
Now we're still learning Rashi. Says
Says
it's
it
very
specifically.
important.
Tov is-
No, it office pidyon.
Nami Tov is kosher, Rabbi
Gewaldig. Says the Gemara, Ike benayu le'ipsulei biyotzei. So the nafkamina would be, because the halacha is like this. Only something that's Kaddish B'Kedushas Haguf becomes puzzle when it goes out. Something that's Kaddish B'Kedushas Dam doesn't. So according to Rebbe, it would become puzzle B'Kedusha B'Yotzei. So that would be the nafkamina. Boy minei Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchok im Rav Chia bar Abba. Kivsei atzeres sheshachtan l'shmon v'zorak domon shaloi l'shmon. Now, if we go back to the first Mishnah of Zvachim, or similarly we had it in the first Mishnah of Menachos. If you take an animal, a regular carbon, and you shecht a shlamim for a toida, let's say. So the owner doesn't get a kapara, but you can continue doing what you need to do. You continue doing zrika, you continue doing everything. So this carbon of Shavuos that he didn't shech l'shma, right, he did the shchita l'shma, but the zrika wasn't l'shma. So now the question is, what happens to the bread? Oisei alechem ma'u ba'achila. The keves himself, you could eat. What's the problem? Just like the Mishnah said, that you just continue doing what you're doing. You eat the keves. The keves is still a carbon. It's not the carbon you wanted to bring. You didn't do your obligation. You still have to bring another carbon, but you could eat the carbon. But what about the bread? The bread never had the zrika that it needed. So what do you do with the bread? Aliba the man, says the Gemara. Aliba the Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon Omar zrika he the mikacha. Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon says the shchita is nothing. You have to concentrate on the zrika. The zrika is the main thing. Since there's no zrika here, so the shtei lechem never had the proper zrika, so you have to throw the bread out. Aliba the Rebbe, and according to Rebbe, bein la'abai bein l'rava kadosh ve'niniterhu. It does have kedusha. The bread is kedusha, but he said mefurish, you can't eat it. Remember the Gemara's kasha before? The Gemara said, what's the nafkamina between Rav and Abaya? According to both of them, you can't eat. The kohanim can't eat it. But the bottom line is, you can't eat the bread. So then what's the shaila? What to do with the bread? You can't eat it. So basically, according to everybody right now, you can't eat the bread. So where's the shaila? Where does it take effect? What's the difference? What happens to the bread? What did he mean? Elo aliba de haitana. So now the Gemara has to introduce a third tana, one that we didn't see yet, and that is kasha. What do you do with the bread? If you shechted the carbon l'shma, but you didn't do the zrika l'shma, what do you do with the bread? Goes according to this third tana. The Tani Abu the Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba shtei alechem shiyatzu bein shchita l'zrika. Now, the two breads. If I make pigul on the kvasim, the two breads they come together with the two kvasim. I do pigul. Everything is in the right place. The breads are in the right place. The kvasim are in the right place. So my machshava on the kvasim has an effect on the bread. That's if the bread is in the right place. What if the bread is in the wrong place? They took the bread out. And now he's thinking, on the kvasim, he's thinking a machshav of pigul. I have to eat these kvasim only on Monday, and I'm thinking I'm going to eat it on Wednesday. Did it have an effect on the bread, which is not here in the Beis Hamikdash? It's gone. Shtei halechem shiyatzu bein shchita lezrika. When did they go out? Between the shchita and the zrika. If it went out after the zrika, obviously it had an effect. He did pigul in his head while he did the zrika. Rebbe Elazar omer ein ba'lechem mishum pigul. It can't have any effect. Why? Because we learned that in order to do pigul, to have a machshava that I'm going to eat it outside of the allotted time, instead of eating it on Monday, I said I'm going to eat it on Wednesday. In my head I said it, or I said it with my mouth. It has to be pure. It has to be the only psul. And if I think another bad intent, such as I'm going to eat it outside of the allotted space. In other words, I said I'm going to eat it outside of Yerushalayim. In my head, I said that. I ruined the pigul intent. Pigul has to be pure. So what if I didn't think that I'm going to eat it? Pigul is only zman in the Gemara Lashon. There's chutz l'zman and chutz l'makom. You guys, we spend the whole 6 months on that every day. Chutz l'zman, chutz l'makom, chutz l'zman, chutz l'makom. But over here, what happened? He didn't think that it was chutz l'makom. It is chutz l'makom. It's yotzei. Could pigul take effect when it is outside of the place? So Rebbe Eliezer says, no, there's no pigul. It can't take effect because pigul has to be pure, and there's a bad thing going on here. It's in the wrong place. Rebbe Kiva Omer, yesh belechem mishum pigul. It does take effect. And with this shita, the Gemara is going to ask its kasha. What happens to the bread by us? V'amar Rav Sheishes, hani tanoi kiri Rebbe svirlu. It has to be the Rebbe Kiva and Rebbe Lezer hold like Rebbe. The Omar, what does Rebbe say? Shchita mekacha. Then when it comes to the two breads, when it comes to the kvasim and the breads, the shchita creates the kedusha, and it creates the zika, the bond between the sheep and the bread. Miu Rebbe Lezer letamei the Omar in zrika meyelis liyotzei. Rebbe Kiva letamei the Omar zrika meyelis liyotzei. Like we explained, according to Rebbe Lezer, zrika won't help here. Why? Because it's already outside. There's already a psul. Mem zayin omid beis. This nan a murei kachim kalim. Interesting halacha. Kachim kalim, right? You have a lighter type of carbon, like a toida, and you give the imurim to the kohen. You give parts of its body, of its imurim, of its whatever, chazav shaykh, whatever you give to the kohen. The imurim is something else. You give the inners, you give the kavod, the yiseres kavod. Fine. Kachim kalim, through the zrika, goes up a big madrega. It goes up to kedusha saguf. It goes up kedusha kachi kachim. Not kedusha. It goes from kachim kalim to kachi kachim on those imurim. Whereas kachi kachim, the zrika pulls it down a level. Until now, nobody could eat it. And after you do the zrika, now the kohen could eat it. So it goes down. It's just interesting, and we're going to see it in the Gemara Mefurish soon. So says the Gemara, we learned in the Mishnah, Emuri kachim kalim, shiyatzu lefnei zrikas damim. If these innards went outside before the zrika, Rebbe Lezer Omer ein moyalim behen, you're not chayiv on me'ila because they're in the wrong spot, they're in the wrong place, so they're no longer kodesh. Vein chayavim aleim mishum pigul. You're not chayiv on pigul, v'noisar. You're not even over on leaving it over. Why? Because it's in the wrong place. It already has the isser to it. You can't add another isser to it. V'tomei, you can't add the isser of tuma because it's also ready to atar. Rebbe Kiva Omer, moyalim bohen, v'chayom alei mishum pigul v'noisar v'tomei. So Rebbe Kiva says an incredible thing. Rebbe Kiva says, even though the zrika is not even a good zrika, it's outside, it's in the wrong place, yet it has the power to accomplish something here. You accomplish that there's meila, there's pigul, there's all sorts of things. You can still do pigul on it. So now the Gemara goes back to the original question. By the two kvasim, that he had the wrong intention of shaloi l'shma, what happens to the bread? Says the Gemara, mai. According to Rebbe Kiva, that says that a bad zrika has power mid zrikas, and this is a very Menachos dika line. Mid zrikas pigul kaval alechem bepigul biyotzei kibasar. Since the pigul has effect on the bread that went out, like meat that didn't go out. In other words, pigul usually takes effect on something that's inside the Beis Hamikdash. According to Rebbe Kiva, it still has an effect even though it went out. even though it's a bad zrika, it still works. So maybe zrika shaloi lishma, which is also a bad zrika because it had shaloi lishma in it, nami shari lechem. Maybe it should have enough power to allow the bread to be eaten. Oidilma, and so what's the shaila? So maybe it's a good raya. No, oidilma lechumra amrinan lekula lo amrinan. To say that a guy is chayiv kares, okay, so we'll give him a chumrah. We'll say that his zrika had enough effect to make him chayiv kares, but not to say that he's allowed to eat bread. Don't use it. Don't use it to be matir shtei lechem. Rather, you can use it to make it aser, to make it tamei, to make it noiser. But don't say that it's good to be matir. Maskevler Rav Papa, umemaidechi isnuhu abroipli. Who told you, Rav Papa, that the machlokes between Rebbe Kiva and Rebbe Eliezer is when the bread, when it went outside, the imurim went outside and stayed outside? Dilma b'deisnu abroi the kula amalei pligi dein zrika me'elas liyotzim. Maybe, of course, if it's outside, it can't be that the zrika is good. And what's the shaila? B'hadei ailino pligi. That it went outside, but he brought it back in. And what's the shaila? It makes a lot of sense. The Rebbe Eliezer savala kirebi doma shchita mekacha. Once, if you hold like Rebbe that the shchita is mekadesh and then it went outside, so it's a proper going out. I can't bring it back in anymore. It went out from a period of time that it's also to take it out. It became possible. Rebbe Kiva, Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon. Rebbe Kiva is going to hold like the second sheet in our sugya, like Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon. Doma shchita loy mekacha. What is mekadesh? The zrika. So if it went out before the zrika, there's no kedusha yet. So bring it back inside. What's the problem? Says the Gemara, no. How did he know that the machlokes is when it went outside and stayed outside? Haimai.
And then who would the question be according?
Okay, so that's exactly the point. There is no question. There is no question right now, if that's the thing. Haimai. I amris b'shloima Rebbe Kiva k'Rebbe Svirlei the Omar shchita mekachalu. It makes a lot of sense if you say Rebbe Kiva holds like Rebbe that says the shchita is mekadesh, not like Rebbe Elazar. We want to say that Rebbe Kiva holds like Rebbe Elazar, Rebbe Shimon. It makes a lot more sense. Hainu the kama Rebbe Kiva the kachlu b'shchita v'asi zrika kavalu b'pigel. It makes sense that according to Rebbe Kiva, since there's a kedusha, then comes zrika and makes the bread pigel. Elo yamis Rebbe Elazar Rebbe Shimon svirlei damas zvicha loy mekacha zrika pigel mi mekacha. How could, if shchita doesn't do anything for you, how could pigel do something for you? Why not? Why can't zrika do anything for you? If shchita doesn't do anything for you, zrika shouldn't either do anything for you. Why? And he brings a raya. But because there's a Rav Gidol. The Amar of Gidol Amarab, zrika's pigol, eino mevi alidei miila, right? If you have zrika without pigol, of course, the zrika makes it, from that point on, after zrika, you use it, you're using something of kachim. It's the final makeh b'padish, so to speak. But if you ruin the zrika with pigol, then the zrika doesn't cause mila, and doesn't take away from mila. What's the case? What does that mean? The Gemara explains. Like I said before, when kachim kalim goes up a madrega after zrika, becomes kedusha chamura, kachi kachim. Kachi kachim goes down a step that a kohen can eat it. So when you're looking at kachi kalim, the zrika with pigol intent is a bad zrika. Memela doesn't take it up a step. It doesn't make it mi'ila. But if you're looking at kachi kachim and you do a bad zrika, it doesn't take it down a step. It's a bad zrika, so it doesn't take it down a step. And that's what he means. It doesn't make it mi'ila and it doesn't not make it mi'ila. In two separate cases. If you're starting off at the lower level of kachi kalim and you want to go upwards, it's not a good zrika to go up with. It's a bad zrika because you had the bad intent of pigol. And the zrika doesn't help to let a kohen eat it or to make it not mi'ila. If a kohen eats it, that means there's no mi'ila anymore. But the zrika is a bad zrika because it had pigol. So Mela has to be the Rebbe Kiva holds that the shchita does something. Because if shchita doesn't do anything, zrika certainly can't do anything because Rav Gidol just said zrika doesn't do anything. So the Gemara says, no, that's Rav Gidol. And Labitois of the Rav Gidol Amarav. Rav Gidol already was shlugged up in Mesechtes Me'ila, not by us. He was shlugged up. So don't bring me a kasha from Rav Gidol. So it could be that Rav Akiva actually holds like Reb Elazar Reb Shimon.
What does it mean again? What's the Kodesh Kodashim? What?
Kachi Kachim in general, if you have a regular carbon, let's say you have a chatos, it's Kachi Kachim. The minute that I do Zrika, that second I do Zrika becomes Mutter to a Kayin. When he takes a bite out of it, that should be Me'ila. I'm using a carbon. But the Zrika allowed him to eat it. So the Zrika took away the Me'ila. But if he had a bad intent during the Zrika, then it won't take it away. And Me'ila it stays Me'ila.
So the guy can't eat it.
He can't eat it. But if you take another case, you take Kachim Kalam, the Zrika is going to make it more Chamor. It's going to go in the Imurim, when you're viewing the Imurim, it's going to go from a Kachi Kalim to Kachi Kachim, the Imurim. And if somebody touches or uses the Imurim, he's Oivra Me'ila. If it's a bad Zrika, it didn't go up the Madrega to Kachi Kachim. So if somebody used those Imurim, he's not Oivra Me'ila. So on the one hand, there's a bad Zrika doesn't make Me'ila. On the other hand, it does make Me'ila. So depending if we're using Kachi Kalim, Kachi Kachim. Boy B'nei Rav Yirmiyah Reb Zera. Kivsei Atzeres Sheshachtan Lishmon Va'avad Alechem. Very interesting shaila here. We have a big dilemma. We said that the two sheep are attached to the bread. So what happened? You shechted the sheep. And now the bread got lost. So what do? What if you just kept it as is? If you kept it as is, what do you do with the sheep? The bread is gone. I need the bread because the bread and the sheep are connected. So what do I do with the sheep? I basically have no option. Maybe I have to throw I have to throw them out in the garbage. I take two nice sheep, burn them. What? Oh, that's exactly what the Gemara is going to ask. How do I revert it? There is a way out to make it into a shlamim. How do I make it into a shlamim? The only way I can make it into shlamim is by having a bad thought, so to speak, to having a shaloi lishma. I started out with a shchita of a carbon for shvuas. Now I want to revert it. I want to change my carbon into a shlamim. The only way for me to do it is doing something the Torah told me not to do. The Torah said, bring a carbon shvuas, and I started off, and now I have to do a trick. My trick is to do something not so good, not so kosher. It's amazing shayla. Could I do that to save these two karbanos? The bread got lost. Now I have a trick. I could sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach, thinking loy lishma, thinking that I'm doing it for a shlamim, which is not what I was supposed to do. Lahater basabachila, and that will allow me to eat these two karbanos as shlamim, and I'll know about tashchas. Omalei, yesh l'cha davar, does it make any sense logically? Yesh l'cha davar she'ini kosher l'shmoi, v'kosher shaloi l'shmoi. If you do what the Torah tells you, and you keep with your kavanos, that you're bringing a carbon shvuas, you throw the karbanos out. But if I do against the Torah, so to speak, and I think, I'm going to revert it to shlamim, it becomes kosher. It doesn't make sense logically. V'loi, what do you mean it doesn't make sense logically? I have a real case that we learned about. Very Pesach, koydem chatzos. If you have a designated sheep as a carbon Pesach, but it's before, let's say 12 o'clock chatzos, whenever chatzos is, the eni kosher l'shmoi, if you shecht it as a carbon Pesach, since it's before its time, throw it out in the garbage. But if I reverted it back to the shlamim that it is, it's kosher. So I have a case that if I do something not so kosher, the basar becomes kosher. Says Gemara, you're right. It's a good raya. My kasha was something else. Do you have something that its time came? It was a good carbon. It was ready to be a carbon, not like a carbon pesach that was before chatzos. Before chatzos is not nira. It never had its opportunity. Over here in our case, it had an opportunity. When you shechted the carbon shvuos, it was a good carbon. 5 minutes later, you lost the shtei alechem. That's something else. That's different than a carbon pesach. Yesh chadav shenir l'shmai. It was a good carbon. V'nitcha l'shmai. Then later on, it became pushed off. V'nikasha l'shmai. And if you continue doing what you need to do, you'll throw it out. V'kasha shalei shmai. But if you do a trick and you stick in a shalei l'shma, is it possible to eat the bread? V'loi. Yes, I have a case. Very Pesach. What if you have a carbon Pesach designated as a carbon Pesach, and you missed it? You missed the bus to the Beis Hamikdash. Now you're stuck with the carbon Pesach. What do? It's after Pesach. What do? So you shecht it. You do shecht it after Pesach as a shlamim, but that was a nira v'nitcha. It was able at 12 o'clock in noon. You were able to shecht it as a carbon Pesach. You were just a shlamazel. You missed your blus. There's nothing to do with the carbon. It had its time. And memela, I have a case of nira v'nitcha. If I continue with the lishma, Matzei Pesach, I think to myself, I'm shechting a carbon Pesach, what happens? Garbage. But if I think to myself, I'm shechting shlamim, I do shalei lishma, I could rescue it. Says the Gemara Chamina. This was my shayla, different shayla, third attempt. Yesh chadav shenir lishmai. Do I have anything that had an opportunity to shecht it normally? V'nishchat lishmai, and you did shecht it correctly. Unlike the case of a carbon Pesach where you didn't shecht it, you waited until after Pesach. So over here, we shechted it. In Shavuos, you shechted it on Shavuos, it was a proper Shavuos carbon. V'nitchem milishmai, and then it got pushed off. Why? Because the bread got lost. V'nikasha lishmai, yet, if I continue doing what I need to do, it won't be kosher, you have to throw it out. But if I trick, and I think about shlamim, v'kasha shalei lishmai. Oh, says the Gemara, but that also have a case. V'loi v'arei toida. Didn't we learn yesterday? Carbon toida. I shechted the toida, and then one of the breads broke. Same case as our case of breads getting lost. The breads broke. And memela, what do? I make it as a shlamim. I bring it as a shlamim. So I could. So memela over here also. Why not? Says the Gemara, Shani Toida, the Rachmana Kari Shlamim. By Toida is a special pasuk that I could revert it to Shlamim. Mashayim by carbon Shavuos, there's no pasuk that tells I can bring in the carbon Shavuos. Mela, I want to know if I can do it. Can't do it. I can't. L'chayra, it comes out that you shouldn't be able to. L'chayra, you just let it go. I think.
You have to get rid of the habit.
Yeah, you got. They disintegrate. What's that?